All right, fellas. So, have you ever had a season where it felt like you were faced with consistent challenges, challenge after struggle after obstacle in multiple different areas of your life, and it seems like you just couldn't catch a break? And it seems like you're just stuck in a season where nothing is going right for you. If that's the case, today's episode is definitely for you, and I have a very deep connection with this because recently I've been going through some serious, consistent challenges, and I've been in this season in my own life, and I have navigated this season very differently than I would have in the past. And so today I'm going to be talking about the things that I've used to equip myself to successfully navigate these consistent, challenging seasons. Because at the end of the day, how we manage adversity is going to determine our achievement. So we're going to be talking about how to navigate these seasons of consistent challenges today on Elite Performance with Dr. Brad. Let's get it. All right, so we're going to be talking about navigating seasons of consistent challenge. A season of consistent challenge. You may be facing that season right now. The reason this is a important topic that I wanted to talk about because I am currently, literally right now, going through a season of consistent challenges where it seems like no matter how hard I work, no matter what happens, it almost seems like daily there's something popping off. There's something, some unexpected adversity or crisis or obstacle that I have to face. And I figured if I'm going through this, there's probably some other brothers who are going through this. And so one of the things I've been able to reflect on during this time is that this season has been managed way different than the way I've managed these types of seasons in the past. Was very unsuccessful at managing those seasons, and through the grace of God, I got through them. But it wasn't without some bad decisions being made. It wasn't without um, going through a little more struggle and putting myself through probably more trials than I should have gone through. And so I've learned a few things. And if you've been in that season where it's just consistent, like doesn't feel like anything is going your way, like you can't catch a break, then I get it. But these seasons are extremely important because it's these adversities and how we navigate the adversity that really determines our future achievement. How we navigate adversity, how we navigate the valleys is what really determines our future victory. And so um, you may have experienced this before in your life where it can be in multiple areas of your life. It could be in your family, at the same time in your marriage or your relationships as a father, your relationships with your children. There's challenge, there's struggle, there's a relationship, there's challenges at work, there's challenges financially, there's internal struggles, there's spiritual. You don't feel like you're not where you want to be in your faith and in your walk with God, and just it seems like multiple things that are just kind of pile on. And for me, you know, recently it's been several things, right? So in my career as a physician, we're going through a lot of transitions right now in our office, and so we're facing a lot of stress there. There are a lot of changes. In addition to that, I'm running my coaching company, and so running that and managing clients, managing marketing, managing all of that. Um, I'm being faced with challenges, new challenges as a father. Um, My daughter is growing fast, and as she's growing, she's hitting adolescence, and so we're dealing with her challenging. I mean, it's just what she's going to do as an adolescent, right? She's challenging her parents in terms of what she can do and the autonomy that she has. Um, we've had financial scares recently, like some big time financial scares, and we're not through it. We don't know the answer yet, right? And so it's sometimes it's daily, something different, and in that day, sometimes it's hourly, like different things that I'm dealing with, and there is the opportunity for stress to really start to set in. There's an opportunity for feeling extremely overwhelmed and feeling the weight of having to manage everything well, and still show up well, still be able to sleep well at night, to be able to sleep well at night. And you know, I know what it feels like to feel stressed and overwhelmed like that. The interesting thing is that during this season for me, I've recognized that even though there may be a lot of stressful situations or decisions that need to be made, the weight. I don't feel the weight. I feel very calm, and I sleep well at night. Like I sleep really good at night, despite the fact that we've got so many different things going on. I've got so many different things going on in my life, different challenges and obstacles that I'm facing every single day. Um, and again, I just believe, it's these moments that really build character. It is these moments where the weight is being put on the bar, where the resistance is being put on the bar, that really creates growth. And at this season, I mean, believe it or not, I'm kind of welcoming some of this resistance. But let's kind of get back to what we're talking about. I mean, it could be very stressful. It could be very overwhelming, and I know what that's like. And in the past, when there would be a lot of these challenges, it would be a prime setup for being stressed, overwhelmed, and then therefore making bad decisions. And so what I found is that uh, stress is a trigger for poor decision making. At least for me, stress became a a trigger for poor decision making. And so the more stressed I was, the worse decisions I would make. And in essence, what would happen is that I would feel stressed and I would feel these negative emotions. And so, therefore, the bad decisions were made in an attempt to escape mentally from the stress and feeling overwhelmed and feeling less than and feeling like I wasn't achieving and all of these things. And so, therefore, stress would lead to negative emotions. These negative emotions I would try to escape these negative emotions, making bad decisions. And therefore, after I made the bad decision, realize that it gave me more stress because I'm realizing like, I'm not being the man I want to be again. And so I'm feeling more stress, get more negative emotions, make more bad decisions. It was this cyclical thing. And it would be in anything, making bad decisions, eating, making bad decisions and communicating, making just neglecting the things that just really mattered, right? Horrible decisions as a father, husband, business owner, you name it, right? And in addition to this cycle of going from stress to negative emotion to bad decisions to more stress, I often also realized that I would get in the habit of just working and just work harder. And if you just continue to work, it'll get better. And in essence, I would almost kind of put a blind eye to all the stuff that I know was kind of still falling apart around me. Faith, marriage, you know, uh, relationships, and I would justify me continuing to work and not even think about those things because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a hardworking guy. I'm supposed to go to work. I'm supposed to provide, and I just kind of need to just keep working hard. And I would justify these poor actions of not really stopping and seeing what was going on because things would be so hectic. Okay, and so I would just get this blind eye and keep on working, blinders on. And unfortunately, those blinders would not allow me to see, even though I knew that things weren't healthy in other areas of my life. Just keep on working, and you'll figure it out. It's kind of how I felt. But here's what I found is that, number one, those things really didn't work. That strategy never really benefited me. And that in the midst of stress, I found that it's not time to put my head down and put the blinders on and just keep on working. That me doing that was a setup for neglect and the snowballing effect of poor decision making, leading to more stress and more bad habits. And so there are two strategies that I've found that have been absolute game changers when it comes to successfully navigating these seasons of consistent challenge. Two strategies. And those strategies are, number one, slowing down, and number two, sharing your thoughts. Slowing down and sharing your thoughts. And so I want to break those two things down. And so, number one, slowing down. And what I define slowing down as is taking time to think. So oftentimes we're so familiar with working that we will work and continue to work, and will work and neglect areas of our life that need attention. And instead of stopping and thinking how to figure things out, we will continue working. And oftentimes the reason why we don't want to stop and think is because there becomes too much of a realization of what's going on. Right? It's like I'd rather move fast and just not really focus on what's happening around me, because if I really look at it, I'm going to be afraid of what I see and find out. And then I got to address it. And then I got to deal with it. It's much easier to do what is familiar, to continue working and working hard, and then justify those actions by saying, I'm a hardworking guy, I'm a successful dude, this is just what I do. And so the first strategy is slowing down. And this can be scary. Slowing down can be scary because, like I said, you kind of got to look in the mirror. You got to look around you and kind of turn the lights on and realize, like, man, things are this room is dirtier than I anticipated. Turning the lights on and seeing things that you probably hadn't want to face for a while. And so yeah, slowing down is really just taking the time to think. And in that thought time, it's asking questions like, what is my greatest challenge right now? What is my greatest challenge right now? And some of you might be listening and thinking, well, I already know my greatest challenge. But you know what? You may have an idea, but when you really sit down and sit with that question, the idea behind asking that question is really getting to the root cause of the underlying challenge. I may have a relationship challenge, but when I ask that question, the root cause may be something dealing with communication in that relationship. It may be, I need validation, whatever the case may be, but you got to sit with the question. You have to sit with that question. What is my greatest challenge right now? Another good question is, what's the best next step for me to take right now? What is the best next step? This requires you to slow down. I'm telling you, we do more work when we should be doing more thinking. We should be doing more thinking. We are afraid to think. We've gotten in the habit of just let me work, work, work. And unfortunately, we become ineffective because we may be working on the thing that's really not going to help us achieve our goals so much. I make this analogy all the time. You can be running real, real fast, but if you're running in the wrong direction, it doesn't matter. So we have to think long enough to say, am I running in the right direction? By slowing down, it allows you to work smarter and not harder. By slowing down in these stressful situations. And it's interesting because in the past, this would be reason for me to just work harder. What I've seen is that when you break it down, it makes no sense in the midst of stress and a storm to just speed up. It makes This is the time to really slow down even more intentionally. Slow down intentionally so that mistake because in the midst of stress, we talked about it already. Bad habits in the midst of stress, mistakes, and so we really want to limit mistakes during these times because it's a high likelihood that we will make mistakes. So we need to slow down even more. So we work smarter, not harder. Um, it allows you to be reassured. So at times, you know, during these last several weeks, as I've been going through uh, all the challenges that are facing me in the different areas of my life, when I slow down, I'm reassured that it's really not as bad as I may initially think. Sometimes I'll just take it to the what if the worst thing happened? What if the worst thing happened with our finances in our home? Or what if the worst thing happened at work? Or what if the worst thing happened um, in whatever? And then you realize it's really not that bad if the worst thing, like I would be able to manage it. I'd be able to make decisions, slow down, and continue to just make the next best decision. So become reassured that it's really not that bad. The other thing is it puts things into perspective when you slow down. It puts things into perspective. It allows you to see that like a friend said to me the other day is that part of what you're working on is a mission, but it's not the mission. You know, as I've grown over the last several years in my faith, I come to understand that I've been able to be fulfilled strictly by my relationship with God, so that walking into work or walking into any relationship or walking into any challenge or walking into any project, walking into anything that I'm looking to achieve, I don't need the achievement in order to be fulfilled. I'm walking into this fulfilled already. Therefore, I don't need whatever this thing is that I'm going after in order for me to feel validated or to feel fulfilled. So since I'm fulfilled already, I've got a different mindset going into it. And so when you're speeding up, sometimes you can lose that perspective. And by slowing down, I can get the perspective like, you know what, man, I'm really good already. Let me think clear here. Like what do I need to do right now? What's the next best step to take? Um, and really slowing down allows you to get clarity. I firmly believe we just don't. The reason why we don't have clarity is we don't provide ourselves enough time and space, meaning putting time in your schedule, creating space in your schedule, and a place, an actual space to think. We don't think enough. We don't think on our own 2 feet. We haven't found out how to think and ask ourselves questions like, what do I need to get more clarity? That may mean you need to talk to somebody or you need to get clarity, you know, um, with talking to someone who may know how to go down that path, but you may not even come to that answer if you don't stop to think. If you don't stop to think, we just don't do it enough. We don't stop to get answers to the questions that we need because oftentimes we just feel like I don't know. Let me tell you, I don't know is not a good enough answer. I don't know the answer is not a good enough answer. And if that's the answer, it's time to continue asking more questions or ask someone else, but take the time to think about who you got to ask. We need to create enough time and space in our schedule so that we can think things through. Okay. Um, when I was a resident doctor, in emergency medicine back in Atlanta, back in Shady Grady. Grady was the hospital that I worked at. I used to call it Shady Grady. It was the county hospital in Atlanta. It was the reason is I hold him fully responsible for why I've lost the hair on my head, because those times were stressful. But I can remember in the midst of chaos in the emergency room, in the midst of you know uh, people dying literally in front of you, one of the first things that they taught us was before you take anyone else's pulse in the midst of someone dying in front of you, the first pulse that you should take is your own. And the lesson in that was you know, you need to be calm. You need to slow down before making decisions, right? Slow down, take your own pulse before you take the pulse of someone else, before you start helping someone else, before you start making critical decisions, because you need to be in a place of being able of having mental clarity to make these decisions. And so what I've seen in my own life is, you know, what helps me do this is consistent prayer time. It's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. Prayer doesn't really help God. Like, what I'm saying? Like, we talk about praying to God. Prayer doesn't help God. Prayer is a way for us. Prayer helps us. Prayer helps us talk to God and gets us clarity, gives us clarity, right? uh, I believe God is probably not probably he's the best therapist out there. We just don't spend enough time with him to be able to get the clarity that we would ordinarily get by spending it with him. So, you know, prayer for me and that silent time in the morning of just being able to talk things out to God, and to take time to listen to some of the questions that I'm asking. Come up with some of these answers, right? Realize what it is I know, realize what it is that I don't know, and then try to seek answers. So for me, one of the ways that I slow down is every single morning taking silent time, but also praying. Praying helps us, just so you know. It's not one of these things that we're doing to help God. God's good. He's God. Um, and so the other strategy is sharing your thoughts. Um, the definition for me of sharing your thoughts is, sharing what's going on in your mind with someone that you know and trust. you know, During this season, and I've just got to give it to my wife, man. She has been a trooper having to listen to me share with her what's going on every single day, whether it's, work or finances or different projects or visions that I have that seem to be going in the complete opposite direction of what I want to do. And she's just been an absolute trooper listening to me. Um, but she's told me, and she recognizes this, we've recognized this together, is that there's a benefit to just sharing your thoughts, sharing your emotions with what's going on. Um, in addition to my wife, my a really good friend, shout out to my man Charles Bryce. We meet every month, and we have breakfast, and we talk about our greatest challenges, what's going on, some of the wins that have happened, some of the losses, and we just talk about what's going on. And it provides so much clarity. It provides encouragement and support. But again, we talk about that word clarity. So much of our when we're going through these valleys, it's a lack of clarity. We need clarity. We need encouragement. We need support along this way. Uh, this sharing our thoughts with someone else is extremely therapeutic. you know, it's just therapeutic, man, to get some of this stuff off of our chest. We cannot hold the weight of this stuff on our own. I don't care who you are. And listen, you're talking to somebody who was one of the most, I mean, stubborn people, who was a loner, who would never talk to anybody about my thoughts and emotions. But I'm telling you, it helps. It's therapeutic. Um, and so I encourage you, if this is where you are, find somebody that you can consistently talk to. I've been blessed to know some really good people. A friend of mine's a leadership coach. We talk every month, about what the leadership challenges are, where you at, what are you doing, what are you trying to do to kind of get past some of these things, what's going on. It challenges me to think about the questions that he asks me. It challenges me to think about, what do I need to ask myself, right, to come to some of these conclusions and to some of these answers. And so again, listen, how we navigate these valleys determines how we navigate the victories. The adversity is a precursor to achievement. Adversity is a precursor to achievement. So these times are going to happen. I can guarantee you they're going to happen. There are going to be times where it seems like some of the weight is insurmountable. Some of the challenges are insurmountable. Things won't change, but they will. This too shall pass, as my mom would always say. This too shall pass. But How we pass through it is going to determine, you know, what the mountain looks like on the other side. If you just keep walking through a valley, the only way a valley is made is, with two mountains. So if you just keep walking through the valley, you can get to the mountain. You'll be able to get up the mountain eventually. But we'll be able to do that successfully and navigate these areas if we do two things. If you slow down and share your thoughts. All right, fellas. See you guys next time.